Good morning. Welcome, and thank you all for being here. Welcome to Central Falls. For those of you who have never been to Central Falls, to highlight an important issue and one of my top priorities as mayor, which is improving access to affordable housing. I want to acknowledge Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. Thank you for hosting this in Central Falls. Speaker Shekarchi, who has been a huge advocate for more affordable housing. I also like to acknowledge Peter Pagonis, Director of Homeownership for Rhode Island Housing, Jennifer Hilton, past president of Newport County Board of Realtors, David Salvatore, vice president of public affairs for Rhode Island Realtors, Brenda Clement, Housing Works Rhode Island, Melinda Lodge, Housing Network of Rhode Island. Just bear with me, there's a lot of people here. Ron McLean, president of the Cooperative Credit Union Association, Fred, president of Greenwood Credit Union, Adrian, Credit Union of Rhode Island, Brian Azores from Coastal One, Kathleen from Navigant, Frank Spinella, who is our housing consultant for the city, who has helped us with this project. I also want to acknowledge my planning director, Jim, and the deputy of planning, Diane. Thank you all so much for being here. Senator Whitehouse, thank you for your leadership in introducing the first-time Homebuyers Tax Credit Act that will greatly help low-income families be able to achieve the dream of owning a home. There are many barriers to homeownership that continue to mount, not just here in Central Falls, but across Rhode Island and also in our nation. Today, our state, there are currently no communities where families earning the median income can afford to buy a typical home. But with the support of state leaders like Speaker Shekarchi and the Biden administration, we are tackling this challenge by investing in multiple affordable developments here in the city. We're standing in one of those homes. These two homes were built using ARPA funds made available by President Biden. And thanks to these funds, we were able to construct two of these single-family homes that will be sold through a graded point system that prioritizes first-time home buyers that live and work in this city. As someone who comes from a family that was never able to purchase a home, as the mayor of the city, it makes me so proud that we're giving opportunities to residents of the city to be able to purchase their first home. We are proud to be selling these homes at a fixed rate that is 13% less than the median cost of a single-family home in our state, and about $211,000 below the cost of construction. I'm thrilled that these stunning and affordable single-family homes will be occupied by our residents and make home ownership the reality to these families. This bill will expand the possibility of home ownership for many more families and young people, just like the future occupants of this home. Thank you, Senator, for reaching out and hosting this in Central Falls and for all of the work that you're doing around housing. I now want to turn it over to Senator Sheldon.
Thank you, Mayor. It's wonderful to be here in your city and to be seeing the fruits of your leadership in this building and buildings right across the way. And I'm very, very happy to be here with so many leaders of the Rhode Island Realtors community. You really know how important this is to leaders from the Rhode Island Credit Union community. Thank you so much for being here. And to the leaders from our Rhode Island housing advocacy community, which has made such a difference in dealing with Rhode Island's housing crisis. What we're here to urge is passage of my legislation that would create a first-time home buyer's refundable tax credit up to $15,000 to help put first-time home buyers over the top. As realtors know, as credit unions know, and as housing advocates know, you can get very close to being able to afford a home, but if you haven't gotten all the way, you might as well not even be close. This is designed to take people who are close, who've put all the pieces together to buy their own home for the first time and put them over the top and make it happen. Because we all know that home ownership is good for the community, and it is the first rung on America's ladder to prosperity for most families. So I'm really delighted to have this kind of support for this legislation. I'm even happier to have heard President Biden in his State of the Union speech announce his support for this kind of homebuyer tax credit as well. And of course, here at home in Rhode Island, no one is a more energetic leader in government for housing than Speaker Joe Shekarchi. And just imagine if we could get this housing tax credit and a state housing tax credit together so that home ownership became available to more first-time homeowners with that kind of support. It would be really exciting. But let me turn now to Speaker Shekarchi, who truly has distinguished himself first in the quality of his leadership as Speaker, but also in his dedication to solving the Rhode Island housing crisis, where he has been relentless and incredibly effective. Joe, over to you.
Thank you, Senator Whitehouse, for your leadership, not only on this program, but everything you do in the Senate. I have said this many times, and I'll say it every time. We punch above our weight, and that's because we have Sheldon Whitehouse and Jack Reed, who are very well respected and very effective in Washington. Rhode Island gets its fair share and then some. And, of course, Mayor Rivera. We wouldn't be here in this House, in this city, without her leadership, without her making the commitment to address this issue. Central Falls is 1 square mile, but it's 1 square mile of solid citizens, and you have an outstanding mayor in the city. And so many of the advocates here today who I've seen from the housing community, Rhode Island housing, from the banking community, the realtors, the credit unions, everybody understands it and gets it. You don't have to go far. You can pick up today's front page of the Providence Journal. And what do you see? You see that many Rhode Islanders, thousands and thousands of Rhode Islanders, can't afford a place to live. And I have some sad news for you. We certainly need the program that Sheldon is promoting today and introduced, and I thank him for that leadership. But I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, because we have an incredible, and I'm not telling anyone in this room what they don't already know, is we have incredible shortage of supply. We have 600 homes for sale in Rhode Island right now, and typically we have 4,000. And as this interest rate comes down in an election year, which all the experts predict will come down at least 3 times before the end of the year, that will create more of a demand, and we still have a very limited supply. So I just really want to say thank you. Thank you for the media for focusing on this. Thank you for the leadership in Washington, in Central Falls. Affordable housing for working families is in very short supply. As many of you know, one of my top priorities since I became Speaker is addressing the Rhode Island's housing and homeless crisis. That's because all positive outcomes start with a good, safe home. Children do better in schools. Adults are better prepared for their jobs. Families' physical, mental, emotional health is better when they have a stable place to live. Everyone deserves a safe, stable place they can afford, live, and raise a family. It's a matter of equity. I am working to change our current situation. With my partners in the General Assembly, we've already passed 30 pieces of legislation to reduce barriers to housing production. And we've introduced 15 more this session. This development shows today that positive results can be achieved when everybody works together at every level of government. The City of Central Falls, thanks to Mayor Rivera's leadership, has leveraged its federal funding stimulus funds to make these homes more affordable and a reality. Because in Rhode Island, most Rhode Islanders can't afford a $600,000 home. And that's what these houses would have cost if we built them at market rate. In fact, most Rhode Islanders making the median income can't afford to buy a home in any city in our state. Data has shown one of the best ways to build wealth and to close the wealth gap is through home ownership. Housing stability, housing ownership provides security, stability, but also economic benefits. Tax deductions for mortgage interests and property taxes. It protects against rising costs of rent, and it gives family a way to build wealth through home equity and home ownership. Everyone here has seen the statistics about home ownership, and it's becoming more and more out of reach for everyday Rhode Islanders. The tax credit that Sheldon Whitehouse has proposed would go a long way to making home ownership affordable and sustainable for first-time homebuyers. I want to thank Senator Whitehouse for his leadership on this issue. All of us today want Rhode Island to be a place where they can raise a family, have a good life, and raise their children where young people can live near their parents and in their own hometowns, and where seniors can age in place with dignity. The tax credit proposed by Senator Whitehouse and the initiative of the housing model implemented by Mayor Rivera are exactly the kinds of solutions we need to implement that dream and make it a reality. Thank you both very much. Thank you.
Speaker. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. It is terrific to see all this kind of support. And please go ahead.
Thank you. Senator Whitehouse, it's great to be here with you all, Speaker Shekarchi, Mayor. Peter Pagonis from Rhode Island Housing, the Director of Homeownership. It's an honor and privilege to be with you all and represent Rhode Island Housing. I really appreciated hearing Senator Whitehouse comments about how this will help potential Rhode Islanders get over the hump. We certainly know at Rhode Island Housing that there are many Rhode Islanders who are on the cusp of home ownership, but just are missing something. And we really think that this tax credit could be that the missing piece that we need to complete the goal of home ownership. We all know that it creates wealth, it creates generational wealth. It's a place that provides shelter, warmth, access to a school system, a feeling of community, and we would love to see more Rhode Islanders reach that goal. At Rhode Island Housing, as you may know, we specialize in dealing with first-time home buyers and low to moderate income Rhode Islanders. We have a very robust menu of subordinate loan programs, down payment, closing cost assistance. And this program would fit beautifully in that equation. So we're very excited. We've been researching and reading up on the tax credit, and look forward to partnering with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. From Newport.
I'm Jennifer Hilton. I'm the past president of the Newport County Board of Realtors, and I'm here on behalf of Rhode Island Association of Realtors. I stand before you to express our heartfelt gratitude to Senator Whitehouse for his unwavering support in turning homeownership dreams into reality for the residents of our great state. Senator, your leadership has made a profound impact, and we are grateful for your dedication. I would also like to recognize Speaker Shekarchi, who has been a staunch advocate for removing housing production barriers that have plagued our state for too long. Speaker, we appreciate your leadership and eagerly anticipate the continued collaboration between our association and your office. When I first embarked on my journey as a realtor in Rhode Island nearly a decade ago, I knew that my purpose was to be an advocate for those who aspire to own their own home. Today, I want to share with you a story of a client who became first-time homebuyers and the transformative experience they had. Emily and James, a young couple from Providence, Rhode Island, embarked on their journey to become a first-time homebuyer. The housing shortage at this point has reached unprecedented levels, leaving them with limited options and intense competition. Despite their search, they struggled to find suitable housing within their budget. The process became a roller coaster of disappointment as they encountered bidding wars and properties selling within hours of being listed. However, they persevered, determined to find their first home. Finally, after months of relentless searching, they stumbled upon a hidden gem. With the help of me as their realtor, we navigated the complexities of the bidding process and emerged victorious. Finally, they received the keys to their new home and began creating a lifetime of cherished memories. This story, sadly, is not unique for Emily and James, and not all have the same happy ending. In Rhode Island, it comes to no surprise that our inventory shortage continues to drive up the prices. Just last month, the median price of a single-family home reached $440,000, reflecting a staggering 14.6% increase from just February of 2023. We understand the profound impact that homeownership has creating generational wealth. According to a study conducted by the National Association of Realtors, homeownership wealth is 40 times higher than that of renters. However, it's disheartening to acknowledge that these rates of homeownership among minority households and households of color in Rhode Island significantly lags behind the national average. While 69% of white households in Rhode Island own their homes, the same can only be said for 37% of Black households and 38% of Hispanic households. This disparity calls for immediate action and a concerted effort to rectify this inequality. When elected officials like Senator Whitehouse consider legislation aimed at increasing our state's homeownership rate, our state's economy thrives. A typical single-family home purchase in Rhode Island generates over $125,000 in economic activity, bolstering our communities and driving growth. Once again, we extend our sincere gratitude to Senator Whitehouse and for his exceptional leadership, and proudly pledge our support for this crucial piece of legislation. Together, let us continue this journey toward a more equitable and prosperous Rhode Island. Thank you.
I should add that we not only have the strong support of the Rhode Island Association of Realtors, but also the National Association of Realtors, which will be helpful in Washington as we try to get this passed. Absolutely. Again, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it very, very much. Let's get this done.